signed by Iran, the U.S., and other world powers. They never really adhered to that or followed that agreement anyway. But the tensions are, of course, flaring between the U.S. and Iran after Tehran made those threats against President Trump's life recently. Iran also says it can quickly reverse its uranium enrichment if U.S. sanctions are removed. The move also complicates things for the incoming Biden administration, which has promised to rejoin the Iran nuclear deal after Inauguration Day. And joining us now to talk more about this is the president of the Center for Security Policy, Fred Fleitz. He's also the former National Security Chief of Staff for the Trump administration. Also back with us, the Senate chairman for the National Iranian Congress, the opposition to the Iranian regime, Amir Fakhravar. Amir, Fred, great to see you both.
Good to be here.
All right, so obviously, Amir, first to you, this is a naked ploy by the Iranian regime to try and pressure the incoming Biden administration to do what they want, and that's to sign on to the Iranian nuclear deal. Will it work?
Thank you for having me, John, and Happy New Year to you and Fred. Look, we know that Iranian mullahs never complied with that crazy JCPOA, because I don't want to call it deal, because it was not a deal. It was not an agreement. They couldn't call it anything because they wanted to just not bring it to the Senate. If they wanted to call it the thing it is, the international treaty, they didn't want to call it. They said, okay, let's call it Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, which means nothing. Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action means me and you, John and Fred, we want to have a plan, go and have a coffee, and all of us together say, okay, let's go and have coffee. This is Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. It's not a deal. It's not a treaty. It was just a game by Ben Rhodes, by Obama, and by Iranian regime officials, all those clowns, mullahs who are in power in Iran. They never stopped enriching uranium.
We know that,
right
Amir.
And also, now, officially, they are saying that.
The big problem with the JCPOA, Fred, is that it didn't give weapons inspectors access to the place where Iran actually enriches their weapons-grade uranium. So that was a big blind spot here. But one of the things that I think is striking about the news coming out of Iran is this is clearly an intimidation tactic. They're trying to strong-arm the incoming Biden administration. And, Fred, I think it's really telling that we haven't heard more of a vocal, firm response to these extortion tactics being used by the Iranian regime.
Happy New Year to you both. That's exactly right. This is more an influence campaign. And this news that Iran is enriching to 20% uranium-235, this is really a small technical move because most of the energy and time to make weapons-grade uranium takes place at very low levels. What's troubling is that we're learning that Iran developed advanced centrifuges while the nuclear deal was in effect that will let it make weapons-grade uranium much faster with much less input. So that's very troubling. But this is all about leveraging a Biden administration, which is all too eager to re-enter the nuclear deal. And I think the threats against President Trump, the 20% enriched uranium, they're trying to force Biden's hand to rejoin the nuclear deal as soon as possible.
Yeah, and we've seen these sanctions cripple the Iranian regime, the Iranian economy, suffering as a result here. And Amir, I guess the concern here is you don't want to see the Iranian people suffer, but they have to as long as they are under the thumb of the Ayatollahs, the mullahs, and Rouhani. But they have to make a decision who they want to be governing them, and it cannot continue to be this Iranian regime. And if the Biden administration does, take the foot off the throat of the Iranian regime, we know what they're going to do. They're going to continue to act badly, and we just have this, proclamation from the Iranian parliament saying that they're going to officially try to wipe Israel off the map. What do you make of that?
John, I'm glad you asked this question. First, let's make it clear. When we are talking about Iran and Iranian parliament, I want to show you a chart. It's very clear, shows. Let me see if, yeah. Look, this is Iranian supreme leader here. This is something called Guardian Council. This is the Iranian constitution, the regime's constitution, Islamic Republic of Iran's constitution, in very clear chart. Supreme leader, Guardian Council, 12 clown called 6 mullahs and 6 lawyers, 12 of them, all of them picked by supreme leader. These 12, they are picking 88 clowns, 88 mullahs who are picking supreme leader. This is the circle. They are picking each other all the time. And the Guardian Council, who are picked by Supreme Leader, Guardian Council picks some candidates for the people. In Iran,
Right.
It's not free for everybody to go and be candidate. They are picking candidates who are 100% loyal. They should write it down and sign it that they are 100% loyal to Supreme Leader to be a candidate to go to the parliament for the election. In this chart, you will see we don't have such a thing, parliament in Iran. It's a group of people who are 100% loyal to Iranian crazy Supreme Leader, which I'm calling him a serial killer, Ali Khamenei. This is the parliament of Islamic Republic of Iran. It's not the people of Iran.
It's a good point, and Amir, and I apologize because sometimes I pick up the language often used by most of the press calling the Iranian parliament, but that's a great example. And again, the better word again here, Fred, is regime, because Amir just laid it out for us how the mullahs and the supreme leader control the entire government, and the Iranian people do not have a say in all of this. One more thing, too, I want to ask about.
May I ask one more
real quickly, Amir, because I want to get to Fred on this next topic.
I'm so sorry. Look, it's very important. Whoever in Washington, D.C. says Iranian people, they are suffering because of the sanctions, these sanctions, you should look at the background and see they are connected to the regime.
Yeah.
Because the people, for last 42 years, they are suffering because of these mullahs. And the Iranian people right now, they love President Trump because they have seen the sanction President Trump put in place is hurting the mullahs, not the people. The people are hurt already.
Yes, the Iranian people love the West. They love America. It's the Iranian regime that we have an issue with. But, Fred, real quickly, I want to ask you about continuity from one administration to the next, if that, in fact, does happen. The acting Defense Secretary, Chris Miller, says the USS Nimitz will remain in the Persian Gulf as a deterrent to Iran. Will that continue? Will this still be an interest of the Biden administration trying to deter Iran?
I think the Biden administration is going to ratchet down our military pressure and our economic pressure on Iran fairly quickly, because those are the requirements that Iran is going to have to restarting the nuclear deal, the JCPOA. And it's going to be bad, John. There's going to be a windfall of cash the Iranian regime is going to get that it's going to spend on its nuclear program, on missiles, on weapons, on meddling in the region. My hope is that President Biden will listen to moderate experts like Senator Joe Lieberman, who said, do not do this. Stay out of the nuclear deal.
Let's hope voices like that win the day. Fred and Amir, great to see you both. Thanks so much.
Good to be here.
Thank you.
All right, Antifa trying to intimidate Republicans.